Welcome to Chosen Creatives, where we have honest conversations with creatives, visionaries, and builders who are leading with purpose, authenticity, and what it looks like to create with God. Today, I am joined by my guest, Ryan Rodriguez, and you know what, Ryan? I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Ryan. I am based in Austin, Texas. I am a freelance videographer, photographer, and editor, and content creator on the side. I like to share my journey on Instagram and share my mindset and my perspectives and just help people to chase their own dreams and to get out of their own comfortable lives and take calculated risks just like I did and just show them that anything is possible.
You heard the guy. So, we know that the greatest work God does through creativity is often the work that He does in the creative. I'm Leilani, and today we'll explore some of the stories behind the creativity, the challenges that shape the journey, and some of the moments that remind us that our gifts were never meant to stay hidden. Bear with me, y'all. This is our second episode, and I will be looking through some of the notes, but also we're just gonna flow with it. So let's jump into today's conversation. What does being a chosen creative mean to you?
Yeah, so for me it means being not just another creator, not just another photographer or videographer, because there's so many out there in this world, in this whole city alone. And I feel like many of us are trying to, more than anything, just make a name for ourselves, make a name for whatever kind of brands and companies out here in Austin, and instead of putting us at the center of the story, but put God at the center of the story. And so what that looks like is, first of all, just having a servant heart and not making our work about us, but always just giving thanks to God about where our gifts come from and just acknowledging that it's not even ours, but it's His. And so that just means that we're humble.
I really like what you said about that. I think that one of the main things that this journey has taught me, like of really surrendering to God, is like you have to remain humble in
Yes.
Him, because ultimately this is all we're doing it for, right? And I think also sometimes, and I'd love to get your just your perspective on it too, like where's the line, or where's the difference when it comes to being humble before God and like maybe what the world thinks of humility, you know? Like sometimes humility can seem like dimming yourself or playing small, right? But actually what does it mean to be humble before the Lord and humble for Him while still knowing that like He's chosen us, you know?
Yeah. Well, it would look like stepping out in faith. It would look like following what He's called you to do and just constantly listening to Him rather than the voices of the world, the voices of your own self, your own flesh, trying to elevate you above everyone else. And it also looks like just being a people person, to be helpful to other fellow creatives who are just starting out, and also being humble enough to learn from people who are further in their journey along, and just always being a learner. That's something that I live by, is to never believe that you know everything at this certain point in time. I think it's so easy to just think that because you've done this for so long, you know everything and that there's nothing else to learn or grow in. But that just doesn't apply here. It doesn't apply to really any place in life. And so I feel that that's what humility is. It's just always being a learner.
I love that. I think more of us need to explore just that learner's mindset.
Yeah.
And just like, I think with God and like walking with Him, it's like we're we're always learning. Like it's like we're never going to get to that like end point where we know everything, because
Exactly.
he's beyond like our understanding. Another question for you is like what did you have to leave behind to really like step into who you are today?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it was comfort, a lot of comfort. What made me move here to Austin was just to get in a whole new environment, away from my own home, my own parents' place, and more than that, leave a life of safety, of my stable job that I have doing real estate photography, and it was definitely something I was scared and excited for at the same time. And part of me just like remembers waking up the day moving out and saying, dang, am I really about to do this? Like, I really have no plan here. And the first thing on my mind coming here was finding community and then finding work. And I feel like that right there was the perspective I was going with, and the motivation that had me going, and it all just kept working out for me. It's working out for me right now. And I remember literally just hearing a sermon like a few weeks ago at Red Rocks that Doug preached, and how there's not a lot of people who will move cities for friends. And I just remember hearing that thinking, well, I'm one of them actually. I literally moved here to be closer to pretty much all my college best friends who are still around here, still in the Kyle area and San Marcos area, New Braunfels, all on I-35, and just wanted to be around them again, as well as find a whole new community who was just on fire for the Lord in so many ways, doing things like this, like Revival and Good News Run Club, Proclamation and B-Stud, who aren't affiliated with any church. They're just a bunch of people who want to see the gospel spread outside of church, outside of big organizations, which I've done my whole life, and I've just never seen anything like it before. And so that right there was like my big thing to like confirm from the Lord that this is where I'm meant to be, and to put Him at the center, and everything else would just flow. Like when you put going for His people, like everything else will flow. I'm serious.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So honestly, now that I think about it, like I feel like I don't really know that many people that would move, for others. Maybe, for a job or for themselves, or but like I think that just shows a lot about your character, like just really wanting to serve, but also like just listening to God, and that takes a lot of courage. So I think my question for you is like, it sounded like you were already on your faith journey, or you've been in the faith for some time. So like, would you say that prior to coming here, like, was your relationship any different before coming, or do you think it just expanded when you got to the city?
Oh, completely expanded in every single way. I mean, I have been following the Lord for some time and was doing great, but while I was back at home from when I graduated college to all those months working at home, it definitely took a toll on pretty much everything. I had completely lacked community and lacked everything that I had in college with my people around, and I didn't have that when I was at home. And so it was really, really just a tough season of having to just rely on His strength and me alone, and just make phone calls every now and then to all my boys who are all around here. And it's just hard not being able to see them in person. And that was just something I had to go through to remind myself that you can't do it on your own. Like, you can't just rely on your own strength. And even though you should take time alone with the Lord, like, you always got to come back to community. And I just think about how Jesus would go and be alone with the Father, but immediately when he's done, come back to his disciples. Like, he lived in community, and that was how he did it. So how much more should we do it? Like, God himself needed community, and so do we as people.
Yeah, amen.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely, like, I didn't have community prior either.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as I've been walking in the journey, I've realized of how significant it is. And I just, yeah, thank you for, like, sharing that, because, like,
Mm-hmm.
I think it is easy sometimes to, like, want to, especially if, like, maybe you identify more as an introvert, like, trying to, like, go and retreat and, like, I don't want to be around people. But, like, really, like, looking at Jesus as, like, oh, he was the one that was, like, showing us what it actually looked like to be in community with people, to actually, like, be around different types of people and, like, love and just do life together, you know?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think it's really beautiful to see that happening, like, just in this very city and, like, within all these different communities, of how his children are coming together.
For sure.
What would you say that God has been teaching you in this season?
Yeah. This season specifically, he's been teaching me how to just be a better communicator and a servant and a helper. And so during this past January, I took off social media along with my church for like a 21-day fast. And I just remember, like, towards the end of that, thinking about how am I going to deal with getting back into that and try to avoid just being a doom scroller and consumer so much. And I just felt this call from the Lord to finally start creating more than ever before and show my voice on social media and put myself out there. I had always been posting, like, my own personal work on my photos and videos, but I never really showed my face. I would always only post my work, but not me working or show my voice, because I was, like, so timid and scared to, like, talk on camera and just put my voice out in the world. And so through much trial and much error, I had just started before I was ready, and eventually just got better and better through repetition, and have really just built something for myself so far. I'm not, like, in a place where I'm, like, reaching fame status or even getting all these sponsorships like other people on social media do, but I've just gotten the benefits of building confidence in myself through doing things that were hard before, doing things that I would never believe myself was doing a year ago, and just stacking proof that I'm able to do even more hard things, like putting myself out in the world and my opinions and my perspectives, like literally, like, giving people a chance to criticize and critique and just be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes, amen to that. Yeah, I would say, like, going off of that, like, the discomfort, right, and, like, really leaning into it, like, what would you tell someone right now that is, like, maybe they just have not explored that feeling too much, right? And some of us haven't, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would you tell them, that person that is, like, really hesitant to just even experience that discomfortability? Like, what has leaning into that shifted, you know, inside of Ryan?
Yeah. I think that it's something that is meant to be explored. And I think a lot of us hold so much value in our minds and our experiences. Like, everyone here has a story. Like, each and every person has experiences, has a story that nobody else has, most likely. And so don't believe that there's already enough content creators out there, there's enough voices out on social media. Like, yeah, there's a lot of influencers, but there's not a lot of you. And so never believe that you can't just be unique when there's already you're already one on one. And so I think that you also need to realize that that's exactly what everyone else goes through, not even just with creating content, but doing anything hard and risky, is that they have to just move in spite of fear. Like, even I still have fears, I still have all this anxiety built up, and yet I move in spite of that. Like, it's something to go through it and just feel that feeling of embarrassment, feel that feeling of what are people going to think of me, and just like overcome that and allow yourself to go through exposure therapy, through putting yourself out there to be critiqued, be criticized, and once you do it over and over again, like, it eventually just becomes nothing to you, and you just build confidence in yourself that you're doing something that you said you're going to do, something that before you never believed you were going to do, and just accomplish that. It's not even about likes or followers anymore, but it's all about just doing something that your younger self would never believe that you could ever do. And so I would just say to the person who is like really feeling anxious or feels like they want to get in content creation but they don't want to because of embarrassment, and just say that that's something that you have to explore.
I love that. Yeah.
And it's not something you can avoid. Like, you got to go through it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
Like, everything you want is on the other side of embarrassment.
Yeah. I think I don't know if it's like Austin Butler or something. It was Austin Butler.
Yes.
It's like what is it?
Embarrassment is an underexplored emotion.
Yes.
So go out there and make a fool of yourself.
Yes, that was the exact quote that came to my mind. And
so go feel it. Like, just go for it. Like, feel that feeling of you, like, putting yourself out there, and feel like you just did something that you're not comfortable with. Like, you have to do that.
Yeah. I like that. So what came to mind was, like, we know that as humans, right, like, we have to explore all these things, right? But what would you say, faith has played in that, right? Beyond just pushing through, or beyond, like, in a way, like, using willpower to go through the embarrassment, like, where has faith played a role in that?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely played a role in how you just remember who you're doing it for, and just remember that no matter what people say, that you have a Father in heaven who says the best things about you and sees you as your child, your daughter, your son, and you just got to remember that, serve his kingdom, and to just be a light for his kingdom. And I would say most people are just too scared to let him shine and to put themselves out there, and to just not be embarrassed to even start. Like, I think people are too embarrassed to put themselves out there to be embarrassed, and they're too prideful to be embarrassed.
That's real. Yeah. I think that's a sneaky one too, because we think of pride as something that's, like, grandiose and all of that, but it's like, actually, you're being prideful by not stepping into who God is God says you are.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that I think that pride isn't just thinking that you're better than other people, but to think that you're too good to do something that will, like, make people think of you in a different light. Like people are too prideful to allow themselves to be critiqued and criticized because they want to stay comfortable. Like they think they're too good to be out there and allow people to have different opinions on them. Like they just don't want to go through the embarrassment. They don't want to go through all this trouble of just exposing yourself.
Yeah, like honestly, like that was part of what, like, I know the enemy was like trying to grasp me on, was like, because I myself thought of pride in that one way, and like I didn't realize that there was literally this chain on me because I was really putting man above God.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just want to say, like, because I've been watching your journey as well, so it's like I want to thank you for your courage, and like, because you know, like, the enemy will try, right? But it's like we just gotta keep it moving. And yeah, I kind of sort of asked this already, but maybe there's something else that you want to share on this. Is what would you say to the creative who's just waiting to start?
Yeah, I would say that there's no perfect time. I mean, God's timing is perfect, but to believe that just a little longer will be perfect, it's not always right. I would just say that you will never be completely ready for anything. That's what I'm trying to say. There is a perfect time in God's plan, but sometimes that looks like you thinking that you're not fully ready, but God tells you to do it anyway. And we've all heard that God doesn't call the qualified, but He qualifies the called. Like He's going to call you where you're at, whether or not you're ready. And I just think back to how Jesus would call people out where they were. The disciples were literally just fishing. Like they weren't in a synagogues already learning the Old Testament, but they were just doing regular jobs. They didn't know anything, and yet He chose these nobodies. He would go to Matthew, a tax collector, at his toll booth, living in sin, living in collecting taxes for Rome, probably some for himself and his greediness, and yet He said, "Follow me," where he was at, and didn't ask him to go and study the Torah for all this time and catch up to all the leaders at the time. And you just got to know that you won't always be, you don't have to be fully ready. You don't have to think that you have to have it all together, because you won't have it all together.
Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, I think I think for anybody who's just in that boat of like, and hey, I'm going through that right now, y'all. Like, if we're, it's not going to be pretty all the time, but like, thank you. So, as you go back into your everyday life, remember this, that the greatest work God does through creativity is often the work that He does within the creative. So, may you continue to create boldly, steward your gifts faithfully, and trust that God is shaping you even as you build what He has placed in your hands. Thank you for joining us in this conversation. Thank you, Ryan. And if this episode encouraged you, share it with another creative, share it with a friend. Subscribe to this channel. And until next time, keep creating boldly. Can you teach us?
Join us, bro. No.
I don't know.
Oh. I'm on a boat.